It says we are now live.
Slightly delayed.
And we're live.
Hi.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talks Tone, live Thursday evening YouTube extravaganza that we normally do.
Ooh.
I'm using the word extravaganza very loosely, but I think it's going to be fun.
I was almost excited.
We went from 0 to 11 viewers in an instant.
Probably because
Yeah.
you go live.
Probably, and probably because I used the word extravaganza.
Oh, that just brings them all.
It does. All the boys to the yard. Theme song time. And we're back. So, I have some interesting things to talk about this week.
Do you?
I do, because, I made a video.
No way.
I did.
You made a video?
I made a video, and I put it on the interwebs. And we got, hang on, I can tell you exact up-to-date to the moment as this video is live stats.
Here we go.
10,200 views,
Ooh.
which is, I think, the most views I've ever got on a video in the first, 3 or 4 days. It came out Monday, right? 639 likes and 465 comments.
Dang.
Yes. People, let's just say that people wanted to interact with this video. Obviously because the title was, Are Gibson Les Pauls Really Overpriced? So I want to get into this a little bit. We're going to do it in a little bit. We've got our normal Thursday Q&A, questions from Patreon. Also, if you want to ask a question, you can ask a question in the thing, the chat. And if you do a super chat, we put it on the screen. And if you ask a question on Patreon, we also put it on the screen. Or if you're a YouTube member. So, yeah, so we're going to get to that. Also, we got some stuff for some upcoming videos, and it just came in like a few minutes ago. So I figured after we do questions, we will also unbox this and tell you a little bit about what's going on. If you go in the comments below, you can find out about it. Also, I'm going to tell you about some cool stuff that we did today that is also going to be coming out as content, which is very cool. So anyway, we have a few things. I have gone I've gone 5 live streams in a row without having an alcoholic beverage.
Is that like a record? Or was it a goal? Or
No, I just haven't been in the mood for it. I just really haven't been in the mood to drink cocktails lately. I mean, I had one a few nights ago when we met those people from wherever they were from in the motorhome next to us. But yeah. So yeah, it's been I don't know, I just haven't been drinking that much. Anyway, hello to everyone. We don't also usually say hi to people that are here, so I'm going to do that really quick. We should. We got Fred, we got Paul, we got Marcin of the Nuclear Village. His name is Green.
Yes.
And he has not been here before. So not only is, I believe, a newer viewer, or at least a newer viewer in the comments, but he also has a green name, which means he is a new member of the super...
Yeah, and he's somewhere far away because he said it's already Friday where he's at.
Oh, wow. So cool. Since he's a new member of the... See how his little name's got the little thing next to it? That means he's a YouTube member. He hit the little join button down there, so I figured I'd throw that up on the screen.
And it looks cooler if you're actually using YouTube.
Yeah, because it's green instead of...
No, it actually says new.
Oh, does it say new?
Made.
Because you made the little things.
Yes.
So Leslie's actually making those little icons specifically, and they change the longer you're a member. So yeah, and you get I don't know if you know this or not, but there's go in your little emoji panel down there. And there's special emojis and stuff that only you can do if you're a member. Aaron's short, but actually very tall. Music. Hang on.
I think we're still there.
I think we're still there. I don't know what happened there, folks. I'm sorry.
That was funny.
Sorry about that. I don't know what we did. I'm not sure if something crashed or if I clicked on something or I don't know what. But
So you're back at the bottom.
yeah, so we got a few folks here. Jay Manis, Boris is a regular. Gary is also a YouTube member. Eric, Jeff, Ree, Sassy Cat. He's an OG, man. He's been
Jeff
around for years.
Ree.
Van Shank Guitars is also green, and he is a. There's a fly.
It's a gnat.
Is it Van Shank Guitars? It's Ivan Shank from Canada.
Phil is a regular.
Phil's a regular. He actually has a question on the Patreon list tonight, so we're going to chat about that because he's a Patreon member. So we'll chat about that. In fact, let's get into that stuff right now. I just want to say hi to everybody that's here. We don't ever do that. I don't know why I don't, but we need to. Because
You always talk a lot.
it's probably true. We also went back to wireless lavaliers. Leslie doesn't like wearing it, but it does give us a higher quality audio, I believe. And since we're stripping it out and making it into a podcast now, I'm kind of more concerned about that. So that's
Not now. It's not new. You can catch previous episodes if you want to listen to the podcast.
right. There are lots of previous episodes. There's a link in the description. So I'll tell you what. Let's get into some of these questions. Oh, Phil is the first one, actually.
And it is, people are talking about it's blurry, and it is blurry to me also.
It is blurry to you.
So I think our quality is reduced.
Our quality may be reduced. Yeah, and we're getting the little "your quality is reduced" icon. Internet has been a touch slow, folks.
Everybody's watching TV.
Yeah, it must be the
It
time
hasn't
of
been all
night.
day,
I don't
yeah.
know what it is. I apologize about that. Hopefully when you watch it in a replay, it will be a higher quality. I think that's how it works. Oh man, that kind of sucks. Well, let's get going because what if something happens? We want to get your questions in. The first one is Phil. He says, I bought an old Arbor guitar for my wife for our anniversary. Project guitar and beginner guitar for her. So you bought your wife a guitar. That's pretty cool. One of the neck bolts is stripped. What would be the way to repair that? Inserts or bigger bolts or completely fill it and re-drill it. Those would be three options. Inserts are cool. You can get them on Amazon or on McMaster-Carr. Drill them and put them in there. I think Matt from Texas Toast Guitars has a pretty good video about how to use those because he uses those on his guitars. Mm-hmm. So that might be a thing. That's what I would do. Also, kudos to you for buying your wife a guitar. It's pretty cool. I see what you did there, though. You're just going to buy yourself another guitar. Or you know what he's going to do? He's going to order another loaded pickguard from me.
Maybe.
Probably. That's what he's going to do.
Somebody said, whew, I thought it was blurry because of the beers. I love that.
That's pretty funny. Charles from Kentucky wants to know, what is your favorite type of knife to collect?
Are you collecting knives?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got a few. I don't really have a...
You say you have a use for them. So at what point are you using them and what point are you collecting
So
them?
here's the thing. Okay, so Benchmade is my brand of choice right now for pocket knives. I have a Kershaw. I have a couple of Benchmades. And then, of course, the kitchen knives are their own thing as well. And I have some kitchen knives that are pretty killer, too. Ha 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 ha. Which I think are cool. But probably my favorite carry knife that I carry every day is the Benchmade Bug Out. I would say that's probably my favorite one. We will use it shortly when we unbox some stuff over here. So we'll just leave that out. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one. Don't forget when you super chat, you get a cool noise now because Leslie's got that sorted. Greg wants to know your T90. So we make a Telecaster size P90. It's not really a P90 because technical stuff, but anyway, it sounds awesome. It's really cool. is winging its way towards me. What value of pots and cap would you use for it? And with the new wide range humbucker, at least as a starting point, 500 pots. And I would use probably, that one can be kind of edgy, so probably a .033 or a .047 is where I would start on the cap thing. Yeah, that's what I would do. Rothby, his last name is Kirkendall, which I think is cool. He says, have you ever seen a Bigfoot?
Like a person's Bigfoot?
Wait a minute. Let me read it. There's a comment.
Wait a minute.
There's a comment. There is a comma in there. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot?
Like a monster truck?
So that you spoiled it. And you didn't even know. When I was like, probably had to be 12 years old, my friend Pat took me to a truck and tractor pull in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and the real original Bigfoot monster truck was there.
Did you stand in the wheel well?
No, I didn't. But I did watch it crush some cars and do some wheelies. That's the only Bigfoot I've ever seen. I didn't... I have not been a Sasquatch believer inner.
But there's a t-shirt for that.
But we do have... is there a picture of that t-shirt?
I don't know.
We might have that t-shirt.
What national park were we leaving where there was one
I don't
there?
have it.
Remember that?
It scared me.
I know, where were we?
That was in... That probably had to be in Colorado.
Anyway.
I would say it was in Colorado. Yeah, we drive around this corner and literally there's a Bigfoot.
He's in the road, yeah.
Yeah, like a guy dressed as a Bigfoot and he like pops out from behind a sign. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, freaked me out. Yeah, it was funny. Speaking of freaking me out, totally off topic. Twice in the last 7 days, we have hit a bird with our Jeep. One of those times was just the other day. I was on my way to Speed and Design in Tennessee, and a turkey, a wild turkey, which I didn't even know could fly. Okay, so I'm not like a novice when it comes to wildlife. Like, I know what animals are, and I'm not like a mall rat or anything. I kind of know what animals are supposed to do. But I have lived my entire life and was like 2 days ago years old when I found out that wild turkeys could fly more than like 2-3 feet off the ground. I found this out when a wild turkey flew up in front of the Jeep and smacked square in the middle of a flat Jeep windshield.
Good times, y'all.
It was insane. There is video of it on my Facebook. I would upload it and show it to you right now, but I don't want to risk any more bandwidth issues because we could actually show it to you. Maybe next week during the live, I will show you the video of because we have a dash cam in our Jeep, and so I recorded it and I made it into a little video for Facebook. So,
and somebody already said, BC Rich said, anyone thinking of that WKRP episode? Yes, everybody in the comments of the turkey video.
Everyone, we have like 100 and something.
I had to Google it. I'm too young to remember that.
I remember the show. I'm older than you, but I do remember the show, but I don't remember that episode because I wasn't like a fan of that show.
Did you go back and watch it? Did you Google it?
No.
You should Google it. It was pretty funny.
No, there were many, many people who brought that up though, for sure. Anyway, so there's the Bigfoot / the turkey story. Brett has an interesting. Oops. Let's see.
And somebody said bird killer. The turkey walked away, by the way.
Yes, the turkey, and it walked away too, because it was the second time in a week.
Also? In
Also.
addition?
Well, no, there's So before we answer this next question, there is a class. It's like vintage. You vintage racing folks will remember. And I want to say it's got to be in the 80s. It's like way before YouTube. You could get these VHS tapes, and they were basically like the YouTube videos of like drag racing crashes. And the first one was called "And They Walked Away." And then there was "And They Walked Away Too." And it was this guy, and he was like super 80s, and he had that like, "And they walked away too." Like that kind of voice, like when he was... somebody in the comments right now will remember the guy's name, because he was a very famous, like, race sportscaster kind of guy, but I can't remember what his name was. Anyway, one of you will remember, and you will put it in the comments. Yeah. Yeah, pretty funny. Pretty funny stuff. Okay, let's get to... this is actually the last one of these questions. Oh! Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you again.
You're going to interrupt me. Super chat. Super chat. Ivan says, thank you for the super chat and the metric money. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So answer this. Why does the turkey cross the road? Why did the turkey cross the road?
Somebody said you're a youper and didn't know wild turkeys could fly.
I didn't. I'd never actually... I don't think in Michigan I really saw that many wild turkeys. Yeah.
You almost said flying turkeys? Obviously.
I never saw no flying turkey till the other day. So answer this. Why did the turkey cross the road? I'll tell you exactly why.
Doug Santaniello said he still has those tapes.
What was the guy's name, Doug? What was the host's name? I will remember it once I hear it. Anyway, the reason the turkey was crossing the road is because, and this is probably one of the reasons why I hit him, is because he had 3 friends that were walking across the road. And they were like, if you're going down the road, they were...
How do you know they were friends?
Well, they were either friends or like, maybe, okay, so maybe they weren't friends. These 3 were friends, and this one was like the awkward guy that wasn't as cool as the other guys, so he was like behind him and he was trying to catch up. And he was trying to catch up to the other 3 that were halfway across the road already, or kind of making their way across the road. So I literally like moved to the right side of the road to make sure that I like avoided the cool turkeys. And the dorky turkey like saw me coming and like flipped out and then like hit me in the windshield instead of walking across the road like a cool turkey.
That's a horrible story.
I'm just saying.
Somebody said Big Daddy Don Garlitz.
I don't think it was Don Garlitz that narrated it, though. Here's the thing.
Somebody else said it wasn't Jackie Stewart, was it?
No, it wasn't Jackie Stewart.
SF said, what is 3 strikes in a row called in bowling? Do you know?
I don't remember.
A turkey.
Oh. I am not a bowler. I am not a bowler.
That's a whole nother story.
The thing about the turkey, though, is he might have been like the nerdy dork turkey, but he's probably going to have scars, and all the chicks are going to dig him now.
So you're saying he's not as dorky anymore?
I probably,
courtesy
ironically,
of your windshield?
Yes, I ironically helped him become cool. I mean, you like me, and I have scars.
I think we should move on.
Okay. Okay. People are like, I thought this was a Guitar Gear podcast show thing. All right, we have one more question here, and then we're going to get into some unboxing, and then we're going to talk about some pretty controversial stuff, I think. Brett. This is not directly guitar related, but I'm building a Champ style amp head. I don't have a Variac, so to slowly bring up the voltage, but I plan on using the dim bulb limiter. Oh, this somehow got cut off because I thought I had the second part of this, but it must not have saved. He wants to know if he could use a 3-way light bulb as an isolation deal. I do not know the answer to that question. I'm just going to tell you I don't know. It does not sound safe to me. I don't know that it would be able to handle the current. I also don't know much about amps. I can change my own tubes. I know how to wire speakers. I understand impedance, all that sort of stuff. I understand how they work. But when it comes to actually like biasing and like sticking my fingers inside, I don't do that because they zap you. So I don't get into amps that much. Yeah. If you have any questions about anything, but this is supposed to be about guitar stuff, at least to start with, put it in the comments, and Leslie will catch it, and we will try to get to it in between all this other stuff that we're doing tonight. Of course, unless you use a super chat, then we stop what we're doing, and you get to hear the cool noise again. Let's look at what we have in the box. I don't normally get to unbox stuff on lives because typically it comes in earlier during the day and I'm too impatient to wait for it for live
Not
time.
impatient. He means he opens it in the parking lot no matter where we're at.
Usually I'll open it in the parking lot. Because we usually use Amazon lockers or UPS stores to get stuff. We have bubble wrap. No, we have something very cool. So, and I'll tell you a little story about what we did today. This is a D'Addario cable tester. I went and shot a video today with Austin from Runway Audio, who makes the best guitar cables on the planet at this time. They are super, super good. So there will be a, kind of like what we did with Stringjoy, there will be a shop tour and an explanation of his whole, he's going to tell you his whole story, which is pretty cool. I've started editing it today. That'll come out in a, that might come out next Friday, actually. I don't know, we'll have to see. Anyway, he told me a couple weeks ago about this cable tester. And it is super simple. It's literally like, you just put the cable in there. And there's a light that says, does it work or not? It's super simple. I used to have this big one, and it was really complicated, and it wasn't super reliable. And he said this cheap thing for like 10 bucks or whatever works awesome. There is a link to it in the, I knew it was coming today, so there's a link to it in the description below. It's an Amazon link you can go use and get this for 10 bucks and test your cables. It is awesome. I watched him use it. I tried it myself. You tried it, I think. I mean, it's awesome. It's a super cool, easy thing. All right. This, I don't understand why that little $10 thing came in that big box, but because this is much more expensive and it came in this bag, which is weird. Notice that Benchmade bug out knife works really good. Sweet. So I don't have a tuner for my board. And we are doing we have an upcoming video. I don't have that stuff handy right now, but we have an upcoming video where we're doing a tuner shootout. If you are a YouTube member or a Patreon member, you can see the intro video to that, where we talk about how tuners work. We go through the different kinds of tuners. So polyphonic, chromatic, strobe tuners. We talk about how they all work, what the difference is. And then I bought a whole bunch of tuners. And we're going to do like a shootout with them with noise and all that kind of stuff. In order to test them, I figured, well, this would be a good standard to have around because I need one for my pedal board anyway. And I thought this would be a good, we'll test some of those cheaper tuners against this one. So I got the Polytune 3. This actually has buffered and true bypass, and you can play around with some modes and stuff. I haven't read the directions, obviously. I'm just unboxing it now. But I've always wanted one of these, and I've never had one. So there we go. So you'll see that in a video soon. I put the link to this in the description also.
Do
All right.
you want Want to take a few questions, or are you ready to dive in?
Let's take some questions before we dive in.
All right. So we only had a few so far,
Okay.
but I grabbed them. And Jeffrey Egan says, I couldn't think of a question earlier, but I finally remembered one. Is there a difference between staple P90s and regular P90s?
There are, and I want to do a video about that. A big difference. And to tell you the truth, I don't 100%. I don't want to speak about what the actual differences are because I have not physically taken one apart myself. I've seen pictures, I've looked at diagrams, but until I get to see one for myself, I don't want to speak like I know what I'm talking about on it, because I don't, because I have not seen them. What I do know is that the hardware is a completely different makeup because the bobbins are obviously different. The shape of the inside of the coil is different because the coil, so here we have a humbucker right here. So a humbucker screw goes through the middle of a P90. That's all it is. It's just a humbucker screw. And so as you can imagine, the center dimension of the P90 is very narrow because it's about the same as a humbucker, right? But when you take a magnet that's a square and you put it sideways in there, obviously it's not as big as this knife, but you put it sideways in there, that's going to make the center part of the pickup coil wider because it's bigger in there. So it completely changes the shape of it. And also how it magnetizes and all that kind of stuff.
What's wrong with your face? Mark Hott asked, why don't you like Harley Benton? That is the topic that we will be covering shortly.
We are going to discuss it.
And Mr. Goat says, happy Thursday. Do you have any clips of your bass pickups? Also, will a smoothie work on the bridge? Love what you do.
Yeah, smoothie will work awesome. It just clips the highs off a little bit. They're just not quite as bright. So a DAF is going to be a lot crisper on top, like a normal vintage style humbucker. Yeah.
And that's not a bass pickup, right?
What it is, I
do you
really
have any
freaking
clips
need to blow my nose, and I don't know how I'm going to do it
pickups?
and not be rude.
Did you ignore my question again?
I do not have any clips of my bass pickups. I'm working on that. But I'm trying to find the right guy to do it. And I just thought of somebody, actually, who might help me with that. Now that I'm sitting here. It's funny how that stuff pops in your head.
When you think about it, amazing.
When you just think about stuff and then stuff gets thought of.
Ooh. Ooh. All right, one more. Brett Johnson says, why does Fender still refuse to wire a strap bridge pickup to a tone pot?
Wait, what?
Why does Fender still refuse to wire a strap bridge pickup to a tone pot?
I don't know why they don't. They do it in some models. They do it in some custom shop models. I don't know why. I could do a video on that. I can show you how to do it. It's like super easy. If you have a soldering iron and a piece of wire that's about 1/4 inch long, you can do it. I can totally, actually, here. We don't even need to make a video about it. Bridge. I can share my screen. Tone mod. I can show you the little, yeah, this right here. This is how it works. Let me just find this really quick. I'll chuck it up on the screen. There is a Premier Guitar article that showed us this a long time ago. And here it is. So let me chuck this up on the screen really fast. Share screen. Give me 1 second. Okay. So see how on the far side, so on a strat switch, you've got in a row where the bridge, the middle, and the neck position pickups hook up, right? And then you've got that jumper that goes from one side to the other, because a Strat pickup is actually or a Strat switch is actually 2 switches, one on either side, and you actually have to connect them. So there's that long jumper. See where the middle tone hooks up? All you do is you just add a piece of wire that goes from the middle tone to the one unused tab on that side of the switch. There's one unused tab on a stock Strat, and you just jumper that from there to there, from where the middle tone hooks up to there. And then all of a sudden, you will have a bridge tone adjustment on your Strat. It's super easy and something that you can do yourself for free if you know how to solder. If you don't know how to solder, there's a link to that in the description below too, by the way. What else we got?
All caught up, unless
Okay.
you want to keep going.
We got a couple more?
One more. Somebody said, quick question, painted or stained headstock or left natural color?
I don't care for painted headstocks. I'm not a fan of painted headstocks. I like them on some guitars, but if I have the choice, I think they're cool, like on custom Jazz Masters and stuff, but I won't pick that guitar. If I have a choice and there's a bunch of guitars hanging on the wall, I'm not going to choose the one with the painted pickguard or painted headstock. It's just not my thing.
Okay.
Okay. So, I want to talk about the internet. Because
On the internet? Ooh.
on the internet. I've never had a video. I don't think I've ever had a video do 10,000 views in 3 days. I think it's
Okay.
the fastest performing video I've ever had. What I find very interesting about this, and there's going to be some people who think that I'm beating a dead horse with this subject, but I'm not. I want to flip this completely around. This whole concept of expensive guitars versus affordable guitars constantly comes up, and it actually really affects, like a lot of people will change their content, the content that they make based on this discussion. So you'll have somebody like Daryl Braun, for example, who will buy all these cheap guitars and review them. And I get constant questions. How come you haven't reviewed a Harley Benton guitar? How come you haven't reviewed a Hard Luck Kings guitar? How come? And basically what these are
Okay.
they're like generic Asian made versions of major brand guitars. Okay, knockoffs of Les Pauls and stuff. Of course, like a Harley Benton's not even the same scale length, and it's not the same. Maybe it is. No, it's not. It is. It's not the same shape though. And of course, a lot of people got in the comments. So there was a portion, and we're going to get into this, very interesting. There was a portion of the comments on the why I don't think Les Pauls are overpriced video that was the normal argument. They're overpriced because you can get cheaper guitars.
Okay.
Okay? That are the same or better. And the easy answer to that is they are not the same. A Les Paul is a higher end guitar than a Harley Benton. A Les Paul is a higher end guitar than an Epiphone. We have a video coming out probably Monday. Well, actually, it's going to come out a week from Monday. It's going to be out on Monday on Patreon and for YouTube members. And it's going to be a comparison. I'm going to do kind of like what I did with the Strats and Tellys, where we go through all the Epiphone Les Pauls and all the Gibson Les Pauls and talk about what the features are, which one you should buy, all that kind of stuff. And in that video, we're going to break down, and I'm going to show you why Les Pauls that are Gibsons and Les Pauls that are Epiphones are not the same guitar. And there is a very good reason, there are many reasons actually, why they do not cost the same. And we're also And so that's its own thing, okay? I'm just going to tell you right now, an Epiphone is not a Gibson. It is not a Gibson. It's not the same guitar. It's not built the same way. It is not finished the same way. There's a lot of things that are different. So we'll talk about that probably coming up very soon. If not in that video, maybe in next week's live video as a summary of that video, because I don't want to get too off topic in that video. But anyway, as an extension to that, we have a bunch of lower price guitars, very entry level actually, super attainable for many, many people. $249, $349.
Okay.
Even a Epiphone Les Paul full pop with slash everything is only like $799, right? They're under $1,000. They're cheaper than, you know, a Mexican Strat.
Okay.
Okay, so they're very reasonable, and they're good. They're very, very good, but they're not Les Pauls. So Epiphone aside, all these other guitars, including Harley Benton, are a cheaper alternative to a Les Paul. A lot of people argued, oh, you know what? We don't usually put these on the screen.
Yes,
Well,
we do.
we always do, actually. Tidy Polly just became a YouTube member. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. You just got access to a couple of videos, I think, that are early, and all those little emojis and all that kind of stuff. And I think we need to schedule a live stream for our Patreon members and our YouTube members, a private one, probably sometime next week. I think we'll probably try to do that. I try to do it about once a month, so that'll be coming up. So thanks for joining, dude. Appreciate it. Okay. And so a lot of these people in these comments were like, the Les Paul is too expensive because there's all these other options. But all those other options are not the same. They have Korean pickups in them, usually made by Artec, which are not as good. And I know that you can buy those guitars and you can get good sounds out of them. You can. There's a lot of people that do. Okay? There's a lot of people that do. And the thing is, that doesn't make them the same. What's interesting is they're great mod platforms. They're great for changing out switches and changing out pots and changing out guitar parts. Like, that's how I make my living. You buy those guitars and you upgrade them. So I'm not telling you not to buy them. But one of the things that I want to do on this channel is what I've been doing on this channel recently, me and you have talked about this, is switching from saying that a particular kind of gear is crappy, right? To actually looking at the intention of the market of where it is. Okay, so for example, these Hard Luck Kings or these Harley Benton guitars, they are excellent entry-level instruments, and they are priced to be excellent entry-level instruments. And the purpose of those guitars is to get the general look, feel of a Les Paul for someone who either doesn't feel that their ability justifies the cost of a Les Paul, which I have really strong feelings about that. Also, maybe
everybody says they're not really a good player.
Yes. If you just started yesterday and you want to spend $4,000 on a guitar, go do it no matter what the internet says.
Yeah, especially if it makes you want to play.
Yes. If you are inspired to play, spend as much or as little as you want to be inspired to play. Period.
Yeah, Vox Guitars Rock just made a similar comment. Said, I have a Gibson Les Paul and a Douglas Les Paul copy. Is the Douglas a better guitar? Nope, but I like playing it more. It's totally cool.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. One of the things that bothers me, and the reason I actually put that whole thing about Harley, what annoys me about Harley Benton, is I don't like the phrase in any context, this insert product here is good for the money. I really can't stand that phrase because it does not properly, it takes away from the product itself and the intention of the person who built it. Because Harley Benton's not trying to be a Les Paul. They're trying to get the look and the feel and the inspiration of playing a Les Paul into more hands and make it more attainable to more people. So it's not good for the money. It's not trying to be something it's not. It's trying to be a good, cheap guitar, which is exactly what it is. Right? And if I have a kid, let's say, well, I do have a kid. And
Hypothetically.
I've used them in examples like this many times. If my daughter came to me and said, well, she did. She came to me and said, I'd like to learn how to play guitar. Okay. So I spent approximately $249 and I bought her a guitar and I gave it to her not because it was a good guitar for the money or because she wasn't good enough to justify blah, blah, blah. I got her a good playing guitar that would give her a good idea if it was something that she was really going to be into for the rest of her life without spending tons of money and regretting that. She ended up not playing guitar for very long. That guitar did exactly what it was supposed to do for that $249. That's what that's for. It's not a good guitar for the money. The reason I mention that is because what I don't want people to get in the habit of doing, and they are in the habit of doing it, is saying that to justify the reason why they're playing a cheap guitar. Okay? So some people will not be willing to spend money on a guitar. Maybe they're not that into it. Maybe they like other stuff. Like, I don't know, fishing poles. I don't know. I mean, a guy could spend like $400 on a fishing reel and then go buy a Harley Benton guitar.
Yeah.
Because it looks cool. But that's not really what he's into. He's really into fishing poles. That doesn't lessen the importance of that instrument. And what he should not do is he should not get on the internet and say, I don't deserve to have a more expensive guitar. I'm not that good, so I don't have a more expensive guitar. This guitar is good for the money. That's not what it's about. It's about his priority in the instrument, and it's about what is inspiring him. And if he's not that inspired to play, and he doesn't want to invest in that part of his life, that's okay.
What if somebody worded it like that? What if they said, it's good for my money?
I mean, I know what's important to me when I spend money on it, and there are certain stuff that I don't spend money on. I mean, yes, we all have a right to do it. But what I worry about and what bothers me about these conversations is the negativity that it puts in the rest of the comment section, because then you have all these other people are bagging on other people's choices, right? Like, that's the part that's sort of sucks. Don't do that to your fellow guitar player. Don't bag on your fellow guitar player's choice. If I go and buy a Gibson, which I just did, and somebody gets in the comments and says, that was a waste of money because that thing's probably a piece of crap, that does not contribute positively to the community in any way whatsoever. And I would still play with that guy in a band, whether he played whatever he wanted versus whatever it's not a competition. You buy what you want that inspires you. Nice. And I want to get this to this is the positive part that we're going to get to here in just a second. Canadian Super Chat. Sweet. Thank you for the metric money. I really appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Dean. Here's the crazy part. The unintended consequence of this video that I did not know was going to happen is, how many comments is this now? 466. So there's been like 10 more since we've been talking. 466 comments. 639 likes. Make sure you like the video right now, by the way. The reason I think this is cool is because actually the majority of those comments were very positive. The majority of them were, or even like negative to a positive. Like,
What was the title of that video?
it was, "Are Gibson Les Pauls really overpriced?" And the majority of the comments were, "I like mine. I bought one a long time ago and I love it." Some of the comments were, "I bought one in 2016 when Gibson was at its suckiest, and it sucked, and I just bought another one because I've seen what they're doing, and it's great." So there's been a lot of positive, and there's been a lot of other creators on the internet the last 6 weeks, since the Gibson Garage opened actually, saying very positive things. Casino Guitars released a video this morning that I watched, and they were like, "Well, we're not dealers yet because we're still hanging out and waiting for a couple things to happen, but we really like what they're doing." And I just really love the positivity that's come out of this, and I want it to spread. So I really wanted to break this down and be like, if you play a cheap guitar, a less expensive entry level, let's not even call it cheap, because I 100% believe that every guitar out there right now, except for Kolos, is actually kind of underpriced. I mean, it is. The fact that you can get an Affinity Telecaster with humbuckers in it for $249 is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. When I was a kid, if you paid $200 for a guitar, it was a piece of garbage. It might not have even had a truss rod in it. Like, it was junk. I mean, absolute junk. Get in the comments, if you're older than me especially, you'll remember a time, say late 70s, where if you bought an entry-level guitar that was an entry-level, inflation-wise, they would probably end up being like, what, $75, $125, something like that. In the late 70s, early 80s, that guitar was garbage. Probably, it was really garbage. Somebody actually, and I told them, I promised them we would talk about this aspect of it tonight. Somebody said in one of these comments, "Do you think that guitars now are made better than they were when their vintage counterparts were created?"
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guitars are better now than they ever have been. Gibson's guitars that they're making now are the best guitars they've ever made. Fender's guitars that they're making now are the best guitars that they've ever made. If you rely on nostalgia to make decisions about guitar purchases, you will not agree with me. And I understand that. However, if you look at the application of technology to the art of guitar making, and you put it together, the number of perfectly playing guitars that are amazing, the percentage of them on the street today is much, much higher than any vintage guitar. Guitars used to be so inconsistent, and you can pretty reliably, especially in me and Aaron Not So Short were talking about this last week. You could pretty much rely very reliably in the sub $1,000 range, buy a guitar online, and it'll come to you, and it'll need a setup, but it will be good. There won't be any problems with it. That's not how it used to be. And when you shop for vintage guitars especially, I've played, I don't remember the exact numbers. I actually posted this in a comment the other day, but I've played like 3 59 Les Pauls. I've played a 60. I've played a couple 53s, 54s, 56s. I've played basically all of them from like 53 on to the 70s. One of them was Joe Bonamassa's 60. When when JD had it. And of all the vintage guitars I've ever played, I can think of 2 that I would actually own. Because they're not that great. They're just not. And very inexpensive guitars are very good. Very expensive guitars are very good. They're all good. They're the best guitars we've ever had. Ever. And I'd argue that with anybody. For sure. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. What's going on in those comments?
People just agreeing about the prices and the quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just really think... I've been thinking about this all day. Leslie and I talked about it earlier today. And I've been thinking about it all day, like while I've been driving and stuff. And I'm just like, we just have to really be positive to other players about, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. I mean, period. But not just because your mom told you that, but because what we're trying to do is, I'm not trying to sell guitars. I don't sell guitars. But I am trying to, hopefully, and we all should, we want everybody to play. We don't want it to die. We want everybody to play. And if we bag on each other's gear, that just discourages people from playing. I mean, it just does. And you got to know, you got to remember. Ooh, sweet.
I don't know if you had a question somewhere.
Did he have a question? We should make sure he did have. Mr. Goat, did you have a question? Because the super chat came in. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that you didn't have a question that went with it that we missed. Yeah, I just think we need to bring the whole thing up. We need to bring the whole thing up. And no, I don't like Harley Minton guitars. But it's not because they're bad. It's because they're not for me. And that's the thing I think everybody should think about. Is marketplace placement. Okay? And people hate it when I use other industries to compare this to.
He said, nope, just enjoying you guys.
Thanks.
Mr.
I appreciate
Goat.
that, Mr. Goat.
Does that mean like Mr. Greatest of all time?
I was thinking that.
It's kind of cool.
Mr. with an I, too. Like spelled out. Like Mr., not like
the word.
MR. Yeah. Yeah. You know, if you think about... If you think about... who said something about a 59? I want to argue with them.
What?
Oh, y'all are talking about 59 copies.
I mean, read the comments if you need to.
No, this is great.
Gannon apparently is reading inappropriately.
Yeah, apparently. And I see everybody talking about other brands of Les Paul copies. They're all awesome. I saw ESP in there. I saw a couple other brands in there. I was trying to, and I challenged a couple of viewers today who were like, there are so many other alternatives, blah, blah. But please name me an American-made Les Paul copy that is cheaper than an American Les Paul. There isn't one. Collings is like $4,000. And it's not even the same scale length. That's the guitar that's not the same scale length. 24 and 7/8, which is
So they're
really
talking
weird.
about an Eastman
Yes.
SB59.
Chinese.
Said costs a third of a custom 59 standard reissue. The sound, feel, and look are very close. It's a handmade guitar made in China, and you can't find a bad review.
No, I'll tell you what. Those Eastmans are very, very good guitars. And how much do they cost?
I don't know. They just said a third of.
I'm curious. We're going to look this up right now. An Eastman SB59. I did think about those. Okay, they're $12.39. So, oh, that's for a used one. Hang on. So they're not a third, actually.
Mr. Goat is in South Dakota.
Oh, cool, dude. We
He said,
love
come
South
back
Dakota.
to South Dakota and I'll buy you supper. I love that you use the word supper. And I would also love to go to South Dakota.
All right, I'm just going to critique the Eastman SB59 for a second. So it has Seymour Duncans in it. That's pretty cool. Oh, sweet.
Just kidding.
Jeffrey Egan. Is there a tone difference between the staple P90 and a regular? I'm really intrigued by the new Gretsch. Dude, I am half tempted more than... Okay, I am 96% tempted to buy that guitar just so I can take it apart. I really... And it's not expensive. It's only like $6.99 or something. It's crazy. Oh, speaking...
Supper comes after dinner. Somebody asked that.
Yes, supper comes after dinner. Okay, so this Eastman thing is very cool. Here's what I'm going to say about this. There's a few major differences. And this guitar is not cheap as everybody thinks. It's $15.75, okay?
But how much is a 59 reissue?
This is no 59 reissue copy.
I'm asking. That was what they compared it to.
A 59 reissue copy is $24.75.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. This guitar. Let me say this. This guitar, and we will get to the super chat. This guitar is not equivalent to a Les Paul, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's get this super chat. This is very important, and this is going to be a sneak peek of the next video coming up. Matthew Perkins, for the Whiskey Fund, did your Gibson come with a PCB or hand-wired controls? Interested to see what they did for that price point. I am not going to tell you the answer to that part of the question. Well,
you have to.
It's a super chat. I guess I have to. Oh, but I can get out of it because I don't know because I haven't looked yet.
What?
I haven't taken it apart.
So how did... you were going to talk about you're going to make a video?
I'm making a video.
You don't know the answer?
But I don't know the answer to your question. I was gonna answer the question, but I forgot. I can't answer the question because I have not looked. I've not.
Well, what was your initial answer going to be then?
That it doesn't.
Okay.
It's a guess that it does not have PCBs in it. Here's why. Because I called Gibson the other day, or texted somebody at Gibson, and said, do the Epiphones have PCB boards in them in the modern guitars with all the coil splits and stuff? He took one apart for me and sent me a picture of it. And I am not going to tell you what is in that picture. I posted it on Patreon. You can go and look. It will be in a video coming up. It's very, very interesting. Okay. Now saying that, this guitar is an expensive Epiphone. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into why I'm saying that and why and what is going to come up in this video about this, okay? This Eastman SB59 is a very nice guitar, but it's no Les Paul. Here's why. The top it says it's a solid flame maple, but it is nowhere near the AAA grade that a 59 reissue is. Okay, this is an ugly piece of wood, to be honest with you. I'm looking at one right now. This is an ugly piece of wood. It's flamed, but it's not book matched. Okay, it's not book matched, and it is not flamed all the way across. It has a urethane finish instead of a lacquer finish. Just want to make sure of that, but I can tell by looking at it. Yeah, when they say gloss finish, that means that it is a urethane finish. It has Ivoroid binding,
They're like fake
which is
ivory.
not celluloid, right? It's a different material. It has different plastic backplates. It has CTS 500K audio taper pots and Sprague orange drop cap, and a Switchcraft output jack and a Switchcraft switch. This guitar is almost a spit-in image of I'm going to show you. And for those of you that are listening on the podcast, I realize that this sucks because you can't see it. Hang on. I'm coming. This guitar right here. The Eastman SB59 is dead, pretty much dead nuts copy. But I really think it's not as good looking as this guitar right here. One moment.
And the person who has this guitar says you are wrong. I don't know about what, but they also really love their guitar, though. So.
No, I'm glad you love it. That's the thing. But I just want people to be clear. I want people to understand.
So what are we looking at?
This is the Gibson. This is the Epiphone 59 copy Les Paul that is out right now for $799. That has all the exact same specs that I just said to you. CTS pots, vintage style wiring, orange drop cap, carved maple top on top of a mahogany body, ebony fretboard, all the shizzle that you can know and love and expect for half of what an Eastman is. For half. And I would venture to say, see, now I want to buy both of these.
And then what's the difference in like the hand quality versus, and then the pickups and...
Oh, the same. So, well, this has Seymour Duncan 59s versus the Gibson Burstbucker 2s and 3s that the Epiphone has. And it also has, I'm trying to think of what else the Epiphone one has. I just had it up there, but. Anyway, this guitar it's an expensive copy of an Epiphone. Now, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, that may have not been the case. 2 or 3 years ago, it may very well have been the case that if you bought this Eastman, it would be way better than the Epiphone Les Paul.
I don't know why those aren't working.
But I do not believe that to be true. Why do we have some...
I just can't see them. I don't know why it won't scroll. Oh, there it goes. That was weird.
The Epi is not lacquer either. No, the Epiphone is not lacquer. And also, like the Slash Epiphone Les Paul is a figured veneer on top of a maple cap on top of a mahogany body. Okay? So that's the thing. Quality of the wood is going to be different. But I really... See, now I want to see two of these side by side. I want to see the SB59 side by side with an Epiphone.
So people are saying... Oh, same person that owns a guitar. Blood Raina. Dylan, you're wrong. The back is a one-piece mahogany. The top of mine is beautiful, perfect matched, no tuning issues.
Okay. See, and that's the thing, too. It's possible that you got a really good one.
And then Eastman says they don't use CNC machines.
What? Oh, well, that's
She said it was handmade.
That's what you're paying for.
I don't believe Epi is lacquer.
No, it's not.
My Epi LP is polyester finish. What?
It's polyurethane.
Oh.
It's
like polyester's not the right word.
Polyester is different. No, polyester is a thing.
Really?
Strats and Tellys in the 80s were polyester. My Strat from 85 is polyester. Yep. No, I understand. I get it. Like, if you want a handmade guitar made in China that you spent $1,500 for that is handmade, if they don't use CNC machines, that's pretty cool. And I stand corrected on that. That's why it's more expensive.
Yeah. And somebody else
That
said,
is why.
Dylan, I don't have an Eastman, but I believe they do make ones that are book match, single piece mahogany, and nitro.
Okay, so that one's not $1,500 then. Let's look.
Yeah, he said those are. He's in Japan apparently. He said about $2,000 US.
Okay, there you go.
Doug Santignello said, "I wish you were closer. I have a Wolf LP and an Epi Special Edition LP that I would like compared."
Oh, that's interesting.
Brett Johnson's asked a couple times, "What do you think about Made in Mexico Squires?"
Squires are not made in Mexico. Squires are made in Asia. At a couple
Are
of
there Made in Mexico versions?
no. So
I mean, he's asked the question twice. Like,
okay, yeah, I'll break it down for you. So Noventas are made in Mexico. Players are made in Mexico. We have a video on this. The one that's supposed to be a vintage guitar, but it's not really, but it has a lacquer finish. That's made in Mexico
people said Squires were briefly made in Mexico.
in 1980s. After
Yeah.
they were made at the Samick factory.
So somebody said, you're saying 80s, somebody said 90s, there were some Made in Mexico Squires. So there must be.
Yes. So, okay, here's the other thing. As a YouTube channel, as a person, I care about new guitars. This is another thing that happened in the comment section of this video. Is everybody's like, well, why don't you buy a used whatever? Here's the thing. A new player oftentimes will opt for a new guitar. Just because. And especially if it's like a kid. A kid is not going to say, hey dad, can you buy me an old guitar off of Craigslist? They're not going to do that. And the dad is not going to buy a used guitar off of Craigslist most of the time for its kid's birthday or Christmas or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that most of the time is not going to happen. And so with most of the time. Now, a lot of experienced players like yourselves will opt for used guitars. I get it. I don't. I 99% of the time buy new guitars. Save for vintage stuff. Like I'd go buy a 65 Tele, but that's another thing. So when I'm talking about guitars on this channel, 99% of the time, I am talking about what is currently available this model year. And the reason I'm doing it is because that's what is current. Next year, we will talk about next year's stuff, so on and so on and so on. So, have there been Squires made in Mexico? Yes. Are there Squires made in Mexico? No. So maybe I misunderstood that question. So if I tell you it is a certain way, it's the latest model year that I am aware of. And when we do these videos, I spend a lot of time, like the comparison ones, I spend a lot of time investigating, like, is it nitro finish? Is it poly finish? And, that sort of stuff. So, and I don't know every brand, obviously. So if I'm wrong about some of this Eastman stuff, I'll take that. Get in the comments and let me know. If you've had a different experience, please tell me. I do find this brand fascinating. But to get back to our original point, it's not a Les Paul. And it's not the same thing as a Les Paul. And apparently, you can get something very close to a Les Paul. Nitro finish and all. But apparently, if what y'all are saying is correct, it's, oh yeah, there's an Eastman gold top for $1,750. What else we got here? See, that's what I'm saying. Now we're approaching the price of a regular Les Paul anyway. So what does it matter? Unless that's what you really, really want. But trying to justify price over what you're getting, just make sure that you dive into the details before you do that. because I think a lot of times another thing that happens in comments in YouTube videos, like the stuff that we do, is there's a lot of assumptions made about how a guitar is made, what it has in it. That's why I do all these videos, to try to get to the bottom of all this stuff, right? But like right there, that 1575 Eastman, it's an Epiphone. I mean, it's a spitting image of the Epiphone that you can get for $799.
Yeah, which apparently we misunderstood and wasn't what they had, but
Correct. If you
yeah.
have a different guitar that is better and nicer, awesome. I mean, I don't know all of their models. I just picked one that I saw in front of me and I was like, this guitar for $1579 is a spitting image of the latest Les Paul for $799. Now, here's the other thing. The other reason people make a decision to play or not play a guitar is because they do or don't want to be associated with a particular brand. If that is the case, that's okay. But just remember that other people might not care about that the same as you. So just let them. You know what I mean? I have to tell myself that, like, but I'm not a peghead snob. Like, I don't care what it says. If it's a Squire and it sounds good and plays good, I'll play it. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I don't even care about neck profiles most of the time. Like, if it sounds good and plays good, it is good. That's the way I feel about it. But just do your research on the actual details of the guitar and not what somebody told you in a Facebook group or a comment section on a YouTube video. Like, actually go do the homework and make sure you know what you're getting before you pay the money. I mean, that's, especially if you're doing it online. 99% of the time, this is something that Aaron Short and I were talking about last week, is that sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you're walking in a store and you put a hand on a neck and you go, oh, dang, this thing is awesome. And if you can do that and not care what's on the peg head, that is really when you know you have a good guitar, because you picked it off the shelf and you're like, oh, dang, this thing plays awesome. What is this? Oh, it's a Squire. Oh, it's a Mexican Telecaster. Oh, I don't care. It's just so good. And you just buy it. Right? Like, that's what we all should do. But I think a lot of times we don't. I think a lot of times we have I know I do, and I know that I'm trying to break myself from that. So maybe half the stuff I'm telling you right now is because I'm telling myself the same thing. We want to break that and just be like, just play whatever's good. But I just thought talking about these comments and really diving into this was really good, because overall I thought it was very positive. I thought out of 460 comments, I think out of 460 comments, I only had to actually delete, because people were like vulgar or mad or whatever, like 3, which I thought was pretty impressive, actually. I was like really happy with that. And I was also really happy with just overall, everybody was like putting their 2 cents in and contributing to a conversation. And I honestly thank you, everybody who did that, because, and even in the comments tonight, the constructive, like, this is a different place. Like, well, it's pretty safe here. There's no super jerks, right? So thank you for all contributing to an awesome community, because it's so fun when we can have these crazy conversations and dive into stuff, and you can tell me I'm wrong and I can just be wrong and go and look and, oh yeah, I guess I was wrong, and I can tell you, no, they weren't made in Mexico, and you go, oh, okay, no, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it really should be. We're just chatting about guitar stuff. So, not that I want to go, I was telling Leslie, I don't want to be one of those people that's like trying to change the world today. But at the same time, I'm really proud of this. 600 comments, and everybody was super positive and just building on the thing. I thought it was awesome.
I just have to read Ryan Elias's comment. He said, new guitar builders need you to like new guitars and not care what's on the peg head. How else are we supposed to get started selling our guitars?
See, that's the other thing. I wouldn't, you have a great point, Ryan. So, I alluded to this. I'm a big time Porsche nut. I don't have one. It's on my short list. I really, really want a Porsche. Someday I'm going to have one. It's just kind of on my thing. So I've got 2 points to make here. But one is, I was watching a Porsche video the other day about like the 911 and the history of it and stuff. And somebody said in that video that if you constantly are relying on nostalgia to make decisions and development decisions, then you're going to get left behind. And the guitar industry, I immediately thought of the guitar industry because it's the worst about that. Like, the worst. Nostalgia overcomes reason in about 80% of made up statistics, guitar conversations. And when a new idea comes along, people will be like, that's not what I'm used to, that's not what I want. But if you rely on nostalgia, you will get left behind. And so folks like what Ryan is saying, yeah, we need to discover new stuff and try new stuff. And I'm grateful for it too, Ryan, because I mean, I make pickups for a living. I've got 12 sets of humbuckers right here that I made today that are going out to people and they're going to love them. But 5 years ago, I didn't even exist. Nobody knew who I was. 6, 7 years ago. Nobody knew I even existed. And I had to come out of nowhere and build it from scratch. And so I'm grateful for that too. I said I had 2 points to make, and I forgot what the other one was. Porsche, nostalgia. It was something from a comment that I saw, and I wanted to chat about it. And I don't remember what it was, and you have to make the noise again. Oh my gosh. Phone and turkey cleaning.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
that's awesome.
There is
Thanks,
a
Boris.
huge greasy turkey print on the glass we need to clean.
There is. We do need to clean it. No, this is super fun, and I really appreciate the community. I really do. I appreciate that everybody's contributing to it. I think it's so cool. And that's what I want to continue to happen. And one of the reasons I also wanted to talk about this, so we have 97 people watching right now. The reason I want to talk about it right away after that video, and I know that some people would say, oh, you're beating a dead horse, but I'm not, because usually what happens when we do these, like I'll do a video like this and it'll get a ton of views, right? And I know that the majority of those folks, well, not the majority, but there is a large number of new viewers. And here's what happens. I'm just going to tell you kind of the human nature of how YouTube channels work. We'll go in kind of plateaus, and then it'll plateau for a while, same amount of views or whatever, and then it'll peak up again, and then it'll go plateau, and then it'll peak up again, and it's constantly growing like that. Every time it jumps up a little bit like that, we get a bunch of new viewers, then everybody that's been in the community for a while knows, right? Like, we're pretty cool around here, we're easy to get along with, we're not like cussing at each other in the comments, it's pretty awesome. And then there's like an increase in a bunch of new people who may have come from other environments on the internet may not feel that way. They may take them a minute to realize that that's what this kind of the community that we've built here over the last 5-6 years. And so sometimes you'll get a streak of like really angry people in the comments. And I don't kick them out. I don't delete them. I just tell them, hey, dude, you know, you might be new here, but we try to be constructive about the community. And 99% of the time, they're amazing. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they're actually super cool dudes. And you could probably hang out with most of them. Every once in a while, you get one that's not. But that's what happens. So the reason I wanted to do this video right now is because I knew that there's going to be a lot of new folks. And I wanted to help people understand the spirit and the motivation for why I make these videos. It's not a clickbait thing. It's literally like look at a different perspective. Think about it differently than we're normal. Like guitar magazines and all kinds of stuff just pounded into our heads about what we think we should buy and all that kind of stuff. No, look at it from a different perspective. That's all we do here. That's it. Super fun.
That's all we do here.
That's all we do. No, we make a lot of pickups.
And he alluded to likes earlier. Likes are important.
Yes. So I've started saying this at the beginning of my videos. Like the video.
If you like it.
Or I don't care if you do. And I'll tell you why.
Dang.
No. This is real. Like the video if you like guitar stuff. I don't care if you like this video. Like this video if you like guitar stuff. Because, one, it helps my channel. It really does. Because it tells YouTube that you like guitar stuff and it will show this video to more people. The reason I'm telling you to like it, even if you don't like it, but you like guitar stuff, is because if what people don't realize about hitting the like button is that it affects what YouTube shows them in the future. So if you like a guitar related video, it'll show you more guitar related videos and it'll show you less stuff that you don't like. So it'll actually improve your watching experience if you hit the like button.
So it's not necessarily about the video in...
It's about the genre. It's about your interests in general.
So I wonder how all these thumbs down people keep coming back, because if they thumbs down, they just must like have an alert turned on to come thumbs down it again.
Oh, I'm sure. I wonder how many thumbs down we have right now.
I saw 2 earlier.
Did you? Yeah.
You have to like sign out and sign back in to have them updated. So I have 57 likes right now and 2 thumbs downs.
Cool.
But I don't know if it changes if I come out and go back in.
So yeah, just FYI, I didn't know if you knew that or not, but people think the YouTube algorithm is this weird, complicated...
65 thumbs up and
Thank
2
you.
thumbs down.
People think this is really weird. The algorithm is this weird thing, but basically all it wants to know is, do you like this kind of stuff? That's really all the YouTube algorithm does. And then it just feeds you more stuff that you like. So, like, for example, if you like this video, you'll probably get more guitar videos from other folks in your suggested stuff. And then what it'll do is it'll put this video or my videos in other people's suggested stuff because you said you liked it. It's pretty cool, actually, how it works. I've been reading up on it a little bit because people are so like, how many subscribers do you have? And I have been that way for so long, and I'm just like, I kind of don't care about that. Like, I just want people to watch the stuff.
But feel free to like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. And hit the bell. and hit the join button and the Patreon thing. And do all the stuff. Yeah. That's it. That's what I've got this week. I hope everybody dug this. It was super fun to talk about. It was super fun to dive into some of these other guitars. Please put your experiences with some of these other brands in the comments, because that is really fun. Even after the video, like when the feed is gone, put it in the normal comments under the video. Make sure you check out the links below for the cables. So we don't have a sponsor for this video, but I shot that video at Runway Audio today. And if he's doing a thing where if you go to Runway Audio, there's a link in the description of this video. And if you use that link and then put Dylan Talks Tone in the discount code at Runway Audio, you get 10% off your cable. So
you can order more than one.
Cables.
Yes.
He said 90% of everybody that orders from him usually orders 2.
I mean, don't you need more than
Makes
one?
sense. And they do patch cables for your...
And you can get every color. It's fashionable cables.
I think he said they
too.
have 5 or 6 different colors. I have a blue one and a red one. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Check it out. I appreciate it. And the other links below for the cable testery thing. Here's what you're going to do. You buy this. You test your cable. You realize it's bad. Then you can go buy one of those. Or you buy one of those and then you have one of these and make sure you don't break it. He told me today he's never had a warranty claim.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Those cables are so good. He's
Why you have a warranty?
Never had a warranty claim.
It's like having insurance. You never want to use it.
Exactly. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for putting up with the slow internet earlier and stuff. It's been great.
Yep.
I have a video coming out tomorrow that I actually have to finish shooting and editing. It's almost done. That video will be out tomorrow, probably later afternoon. And it's a shop tour of Dylan Talks Tone, actually, which is sort of weird because it's this couch. But you'll see. It's pretty cool. Thanks for hanging out, and I guess we'll see you tomorrow.